Hey, this is Jeremy, and it's time to talk about Eddington. Okay, Eddington is a new film by director Ari Aster, who directed Hereditary, Midsummer, Beau is Afraid. So I saw this film like 4 days ago. I kind of had to sit with it to decide if I actually liked it or not. In terms of Ari's previous films, I really liked Hereditary and Midsummer. I've only seen them once in theaters. Like, I've never watched them again. It's rare that I will watch a movie again, like especially contemporary films. And I actually did like Beau is Afraid. It was a lot to take in, and I feel like it was a pretty big undertaking, and it kind of worked. Like, it went off the rails for me a little bit at the end, but overall, I think it's pretty massive, and it's like a nice piece of work, if you will. So in terms of Eddington, I feel like compared to definitely Beau is Afraid, but maybe even the other two, like it feels like a more cohesive project, if you will. Eddington is the story of Joaquin Phoenix, who's the sheriff of the town of Eddington, which I'm not even sure if it's a real town or not. It feels like it's in New Mexico, Texas, Arizona, maybe. And then there's the mayor of the town, played by Pedro Pascal, and then somehow they both end up running for mayor. Pedro for re-election, and then Joaquin because he kind of decides to. And then it kind of goes from there. So that's basically like the crux of the story. The first hour or so, there's a lot of like, it takes place like during COVID, so there's a lot of COVID stuff of Black Lives Matter, some conspiracy theories. All of that stuff is kind of mixed in, which we could tell from the trailer. So that's kind of the type of movie I was expecting, and I thought it was about that, but turns out it's not. So in that sense, I was a little disappointed, not because I wanted a movie about that. Like, there's stuff about the COVID stuff that I'd kind of forgotten, and that was kind of triggering, like just like the having to do a lineup outside the store for like the grocery store. I kind of forgot that we had to do that, and it was like, oof, like just seeing that was kind of disgusting. So yeah, like, not that I wanted a movie about that time. I feel like it's too soon to kind of grapple with everything that we went through, maybe. But I thought that that's what the movie was. I was kind of expecting something else. That being said, the way that he works with those elements in the film, it works. Like, it makes sense. It feels realistic. The story about the mayor race, like, the same story could be told without all of those elements. So in that sense, it doesn't really impact the story. It might, for him as the writer of the film, it might have been like the flame that like made him have that idea. But it kind of becomes irrelevant by the end of the movie. And like, I've seen online people that are like, oh, like he's taking one side, or he's trying to take both sides of like the whole COVID and BLM and all that stuff. But he's not I feel like he's not taking one side, and he kind of makes fun of both sides of the issues. It feels very much like a satire type of thing at the beginning. But my audience, like, it was a pretty packed theater, but it was like a 9:00 showing on a Thursday. And people didn't really laugh. I don't know if it was because of the subject matter or just because we're like not into the vibe. And then at one point, like an hour into the movie, there's this one joke that everybody really laughed. And then I feel like the tension was broken, and we laughed a little bit more after that. But yeah, it's kind of layered. Like, he touches on everything, so you don't feel like a heavy hand of like, I'm trying to get this point across. You don't really feel that. The way that he uses technology and phones and social media, that's really cool, and I've never seen that portrayed in that way in a movie yet. So that was great. I like Joaquin Phoenix. I'm not I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I think he's a good actor most of the time. Napoleon notwithstanding. Um, but I was really into the idea of this movie because of Emma Stone and Austin Butler, who I really like. But both Emma and Austin are in total maybe in this movie for like 15 minutes for Emma and like less than 10 minutes for Austin. Even Pedro Pascal is not in it that much, like maybe 20 minutes. And this movie is like maybe 3 hours. So I feel like because of the subject matter from the beginning, I think it could have worked even better if it was like an ensemble piece and you saw different people going through it in different ways. There's some teenagers in the movie that kind of have like their one set issue and that works, but they're kind of irrelevant to the story as well. So it's really like the Joaquin show. So if you like him, you'll love this, but if not, then I don't know. Other than that, like the story's pretty simple. I was expecting it to go like batshit crazy towards the end, like most of Ari's movies go. That didn't really happen. There's like, it feels like there's 5 different endings, and I remember feeling that way for Beau is Afraid as well. And then there's like this like twist at the end, but like it's not that crazy. So yeah, I feel like for a movie that long, like the payoff wasn't that great, but it did feel like it feels very contained. Like this is like the story, so it works in that sense, but it was just too long in my opinion. The cinematography is great. There's these really cool shots. There's just this shootout scene that towards the end that's shot really, really cool. I don't really remember the music that much, except there's like a Katy Perry song that's used at one point that's pretty funny. And then yeah, I mean, I think in terms of awards and stuff, I don't see this going anywhere. I mean, like Joaquin does give a great performance. Like technically he could get a nomination, but it just won't happen because people will have forgotten about this movie by awards time. Yeah, so I think if you're a fan of Ari's, you need to see this, or Joaquin. But don't go see this if you're an Emma Stone fan or an Austin Butler or even a Pedro Pascal fan, because they're not in it enough. And yeah, I mean, I'm still thinking about it. Like I went to see I Know What You Did Last Summer the following day with a friend, and he was like, "Oh, how was Eddington?" And I was just like I don't know. It's like I can't make up my mind. I think maybe I need to see it again to be like, okay, like do I like this? Like I know that it works, but does it work enough for me to like it, or does it just like work as its own thing and it's not really for me? I'm excited for what Ari does next. That's all I can really say. I can't say like, oh, go see this because of this scene or because of this performance or because of this, even like this shot or whatever. Like there's nothing that kind of stands out. But yeah, I would, if you're curious, I would recommend to see it. Otherwise, maybe wait. Anyway, see you guys next time.